Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari. Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanacham Hariya Yamunatira Vanacham Hariya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari. Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanacham Hari. Yamunatira Vanacham Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Kunj Bihari Radha Kunj Bihari Radhe. Jaya Radha Rasbihari Radha Rasbihari Radhe. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Radhe. Jaya Radha Shama Sundara Radha Shama Sundara Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Radhe. Jaya Radhe Sham Radhe Sham Radhe Sham Jaya Radhe Sham. Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Pralandra Singha Jaya Pralandra Singha Pralandra Singha Jaya Pralandra Singha. Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Nitai Gaura Haribol 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 Jaya Jaya Haribol. Nitai Gaura Haribol 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishwapad Paramahamsa Parivraj Gacchaya Ashota Satta Shishmachile Sivakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishwapad Paramahamsa Parivraj Gacchaya Ashota Satta Shishmachile Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Kode Vaishnavrinda Ki. Prem Se Ko Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shibhajari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopal Govindacham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Mayapana Dham Ki Jai. Jaganpuri Dham Ki Jai. Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Grantra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai. Samavita Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nashtabhaye Shabadesho Nittam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Ete cham sakalapum sam Krishnastu Bhagavan Sayam Indriyari Vyakulam Lokam Ridyante Yuge Yuge Nama Sanketanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranasanam Pranamaduka Samanastam Namami Harim Param. Hare Krishna. So we're reading from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 4th canto, 19th chapter, text number 29 till 32. So text number 32 is written. So I will read text number 29 till 31, the Sanskrit and then the translation, and then together we'll read text number 32. Text number 29. So this chapter, King Prithu's 100 horse sacrifices. Ityamantriya kratu patim vidurasya artvijorusha shughastam juvato vyetya sayambhu pratyasedata. My dear Vidur, after giving the king this advice, the priests who had been engaged in performing the sacrifice called for Indra, the king of heaven, in a mood of great anger. When they were just ready to put the oblation in the fire, Lord Brahma appeared on the scene and forbade them to start the sacrifice. Text number 30. Navadyo bhavatam indro yadyagyo bhagavatano yam jigyam satta yagyena yasyaishtastanavasura. Lord Brahma addressed them thus: my dear sacrificial performers, you cannot kill Indra, the king of heaven. It is not your duty. You should know that Indra is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Indeed, he is one of the most powerful assistants of the Personality of Godhead. You are trying to satisfy all the demigods by the performance of this yaga, but you should know that all these demigods are but part and parcels of Indra, the king of heaven. How then can you kill him in this great sacrifice? Text number 31. Tad idam pashyata mahad dharma vyatikaram dvija indrinanustitam ragya karmaitad vijigam sata. Translation. In order to make trouble and impede the performance of King Prithu's great sacrifice, King Indra has adopted some means that in the future will destroy the clear path of religious life. I draw your attention to this fact. If you oppose him any further, he will further misuse his power and introduce many other religious systems. Text number 32. Prithu kite pritur boyat Dharye kona shata krato Alam te kratubhi svistair Yad bhavan moksha dharma vet Prithu kite pritur boyat Dharye kona shata krato Alam te kratubhi svistair Yad bhavan moksha dharma vet Pritu kite pritur bhuyat tarhi ekona shattakratu alam te kratu bhishvistair yad bhavan moksha dharmavit. Ladies, Pritu Kirte of wide renown, Prito of King Prithu, Bhuyat, let it be, Tarhi, therefore, Eka Una Shatta Kratu, he who performed 99 yagyas, Alam, there is nothing to be gained. Te, of you, Kratubhi, by performing sacrifices. So ishtai, well performed. Yat, because Bhavan, yourself, Moksha Dharmavit, the knower of the path of liberation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. Let there be only 99 sacrificial performances for Maharaj Prithu. Lord Brahma concluded. Lord Brahma then turned towards Maharaj Prithu and informed him that since he was thoroughly aware of the path of liberation, what was the use in performing more sacrifices? Purport. Lord Brahma came down to pacify King Prithu regarding his continual performance of 100 sacrifices. King Prithu was determined to perform 100 sacrifices. And King Indra took this very seriously because Indra himself was known as the performer of 100 sacrifices. Just as it is the nature of all living entities within this material world to become envious of their competitors. King Indra, although king of heaven, was also envious of King Prithu and therefore wanted to stop him from performing 100 sacrifices. Actually, there was great competition, and King Indra, to satisfy his senses, began to invent so many religious systems to obstruct King Prithu. To stop these irreligious inventions, Lord Brahma personally appeared in the sacrificial arena. As far as Maharaj Prithu was concerned, he was a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, it was not necessary for him to perform the prescribed Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Such ceremonies are known as karma, and there is no need for a devotee in the transcendental position to execute them. As the ideal king, however, it was King Prithu's duty to perform sacrifices. A compromise was therefore to be worked out. By the blessings of Lord Brahma, King Prithu would become more famous than King Indra. Thus, Prithu's determination to perform 100 sacrifices was indirectly fulfilled by the blessings of Lord Brahma. Homa Yajna Timirandasya Jnanam Janasalakaya Chakasodon Militam Menam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanamanobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupagadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutabadagamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Govika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshari Prishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyahevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Rama Hare 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 Nama Eva Kevalam Kolam Nastyeva Gatyaranyata. So here, the wonderful activities, devotional service of King Prithu is being described. So specifically in this chapter, King Prithu is performing many sacrifices. So he wanted to perform 100 horse sacrifices. So at that time, so it was the custom to perform sacrifices. Because at that time, the human beings, they were living for long life, for a long time. 1,000 years, or more than 1,000 years, 10,000 years. And there was so much opulence, so they could do that, perform these sacrifices. So King Prithu, he was a devotee of the Lord, actually empowered incarnation of the Lord, Shakti Avesh Avatar. So different appearances of the Lord are there in this world. Ete samsakalapumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Sayam Indriyari Vyakulam Lokam Ridyante Yuge Yuge. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Swayam Bhagavan. Only Krishna is addressed as Swayam Bhagavan. That refers to Krishna and Braj, who is the source of everything. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. And then various expansions are there of Krishna in the spiritual world. First of all, Mathuresh and Dwarkadish Krishna. And then Ramchandra Bhagavan, Narayan, Nrsingadev Bhagavan, and so many other personalities of Godhead are there in the spiritual realm. And when the material world is manifested, practically also unlimited incarnations of the Lord are appearing in this world to protect the devotees, to establish religious principles, and if necessary to kill, which is mostly necessary, also to kill demonic people or demonic mentalities. So Prithu Maharaj is known as an empowered incarnation, Shakti Avesh Avatar. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead with all opulences, Sarvaishvarya Purna Bhagavan. And then the other personalities of Godhead, even Balaram, so in the first expansion, he's almost as powerful as Krishna, or complete. And sometimes it is mentioned there's only one difference between Krishna and Balaram. What is the difference? Yeah, actually a few things, but especially the color is mentioned. Krishna is blackish and Balaram is whitish. But then Krishna has a flute and Balaram doesn't have a flute. And Krishna performs wonderful pastimes with the flute. 4 qualities which are only there in Krishna. Venu Madhurya is playing the flute so beautiful. Amyuma becomes enchanted and others are becoming bewildered also. And his beauty, Rupa Madhurya. Balaram is beautiful. Narayan is beautiful. But Krishna is most beautiful. And then the Prema Madhurya, the loving exchange. Narayan has an exchange with his associates. Balaram has associates and even some gopis are there of Balaram, a few. And there's an exchange. Ramchandra Bhagavan, Krishna and Dwarka with the queens. But the most wonderful loving exchanges are there between Krishna and his associates in Braja, and especially the gopis who are the foremost of all of his associates, and amongst them Srimati Radharani. And then, so the pastimes also in Braj, they are most sweet and most wonderful. So then it is mentioned, so Krishna Dwarka is perfect, in Mathura is more perfect, and in Braj is most perfect. So Krishna simultaneously in Dwarka, in Mathura, and in Braj, in the spiritual world. But when Krishna comes in this world, so Krishna is first in Braj, and then he becomes unmanifest, and then Vasudev Krishna is there in Mathura, and Dwarkadish in Dwarka. So that has been revealed by the Acharyas, and which most people, they do not understand. But by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Kali Yuga avatar, who has established the chanting of the holy names, the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And he came specifically to give also Braj Bhakti. The mood, how we should chant the holy names, is following the footsteps of the eternal associates of Krishna and Braj. He came to give us, especially the Unodo Jalaras, the loving sentiments of the gopis. So then different incarnations are there, or expansions are there, Vishnu, Narayan. The foremost is Narayan, and then the different Vishnu expansions are there. And with different names, Vasudev, Shankar, Shamparidum, Naniruddha there in Dwarka, and they are there also in Vaikuntha. And then when the material world is manifest, which is only sometimes in the Lord's creation, the Vaikuntha planets are eternal, ever existing. But when the material world is manifest, which is only sometime, which is a very long time, but at this time, then different incarnations are coming. Krishna himself is coming, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is coming, Ramchandra Bhagavan is coming, but then different Vishnu expansions are there. And so that is described in the first canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, practically unlimited. And mostly they are appearing then from Kshirodakshai Vishnu, that Prabhupada has explained. So these are Vishnu Tattva mostly, but then some of them, they are empowered jivas. They are known as Shakti Aveshavatar, empowered with the potency of the Lord. And like even Narada Muni is known as Shakti Aveshavatar. And he's a jiva, but he's empowered to spread bhakti. King Prithu Maharaj, he was empowered to show the principles of a kshatriya, the qualities of a kshatriya. So in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, these are all described. Not all, but many of them. Because as I mentioned, they are unlimited. But this verse, Ete Chamsakalupam Sam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, is mentioned that so that we may understand. That verse is known as Paribhasha Sutra. That is to be remembered throughout the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That Krishna is the ultimate supreme personality of Godhead. And so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his mercies, so we can understand, and by his mercy one can go to the highest planet, which is Krishna's planet. So which is actually only possible after Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna is coming in this world, as he came 5,000 years ago, and after Mahaprabhu came. Otherwise it is not so easily available, Braj Bhakti. It is there, but not so easily available. But by the mercy of Mahaprabhu and by the chanting of the holy names, we may gain this Braj Bhakti. So King Prithu, so he was worshipping the Supreme Lord Vishnu, and he was a great king. And of course, usually kings are householders, their family, relatives, and children, and they want to continue the dynasty. Different dynasties are there. Mostly two are there, one coming from the sun god and one coming from the moon god. And these are most prominent, but then others may be there also. So Prithu Maharaj was a great king and a great devotee. So he wanted, of course, for the benefit of mankind, and so he was performing these sacrifices, and also, of course, to satisfy the demigods. And ultimately the Supreme Lord, Yagya by Vishnu. One is performing Yagya to satisfy the Supreme Lord ultimately. At the same time, when a Yagya is performed, then others may benefit also, like the demigods, and that was usually done. Even now, still in India, we can see different kinds of priests are there, and many of the priests, they worship the demigods also. But then our acharyas, specifically Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he has given us the process how we should do yagyas and sacrifices. So when we do yagya, we worship Guru Gauranga and Krishna and their associates, and in this way we do the yagya, except if it's a great ceremony like establishing a new temple, installing new deities. Then some of the demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they also worshipped in a simple way. So Prithu Maharaj, he was doing these sacrifices, 99 sacrifices, and he wanted to do 100, one more. So King Indra, he became disturbed, he became angry, he became envious. Because he performed 100 sacrifices and he wanted to be known as the one who performed 100 sacrifices, and only he himself so should be recognized as the one who did 100 sacrifices. So some pride was there. But we should understand he's a great personality, he's a demigod, he's a devotee of the Lord also. but some impurities are there still. And we can see that practically also, for example, in this world also, on this planet, in our society, other societies also, sometimes. And we know we should perform pure devotional service. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma navaritam anukuline Krishna nusilanam bhakti ruttamam. As Rupa Goswami has advised, suggested in the Nectar of Devotion, that we should perform a devotional service anukul, favorable, Krishna nusilanam, as Krishna wants, not how we want, but as Krishna wants. Even when we do a yajna, for example, we say, idam Krishnaya idam namama. So we offer to Krishna, and it is for Krishna. It is not for us. Idam Vishnave idam nama, idam Narayanaya idam namama. Because the tendency is so strong for the conditioned soul to want to enjoy. Actually, every second. And every second we have the choice. One time Prabhupada was on Vyasa-san, he was saying, every second you have a choice. And he was leaning towards the left, that you can go towards Krishna, and then he was leaning towards the other side, or you can go towards Maya. So you have the choice every second. Every second you have to choose Krishna. So, therefore, when we do yajna, the priest will say, I'm offering to Krishna. It is not for me. It is for Krishna. It is not for me. It is for Krishna. It is not for me. So strong. And so Indra is powerful, but he's in Maya sometimes. Even the Agni Dev, so a great demigod also, and he's worshipped when we do yajna. We call the fire, it's not just a normal fire, what we call Agni Dev. Even different manifestation of Agni Dev, different names of the fire. For marriage, Yojaka Namaha. And for initiation, Samudbhava or Vaishnav. For an auspicious ceremony, Mangal, Namagnaya Namaha. Avayami, Stapayami, we call and establish, and then we worship the fire god also. And in Prithu Maharaj's wedding, because his wife was so beautiful, so the priest called Agni Dev and worshipped Agni Dev, and then Agni Dev was present. Of course, only the great souls could see. And so Agni Dev then, during the ceremony, marriage ceremony, at one point, the circumambulation of the fire. So Prithu Maharaj and his good wife were going around the fire. And it is mentioned that Agni Dev was attracted to the wife of Prithu. Wow, so beautiful. So strong is the external energy that great souls, they become bewildered. So Indra also, he became bewildered, not just here. So the false pride is false pride is there, envy is there, although he's a devotee. And then it is well known also that he seduced one time the wife of a great sage, actually more than one time. But still, because he's such a great demigod and devotee of the Lord, it has been excused. But one time he was cursed to become a hawk because he was so lusty. And Prabhupada said in Vrindavan, so those devotees were serving the Lord, but they have some illicit activities. They become a dog or a hog or a monkey. And there are many monkeys in Vrindavan. Of course, not of them are all souls who fell, but some of them are. So that is so strong. And as he was doing that, stealing, and here very specifically it is mentioned that how he stole he came dressed as a sannyasi, so that nobody suspect him. And then he just disappeared with the horse. Sacrificial horse. And then they had to look for the horse, but then Prithu Maharaj's son, he got it back. But then they were, because it happened not only one time, but many times. So therefore, they became angry. The priests also. Prithu Maharaj became angry, and he was very powerful. He took his bow and arrow, he was ready to kill Indra. But then the priests were saying, no, we should not do that. But what we'll do, we'll chant some special mantras. And with these mantras, we will call him and throw him in the fire. And so they were powerful at that time. But in the age of Kali, it is mentioned one should not do horse sacrifice because there are no qualified brahmanas. Of course, still we can do yagyas, we do sometimes, but not as elaborate. And by the mercy of Prabhupada, the mercy of the previous acharyas, although we may not be so qualified, but Mahaprabhu is very merciful, Krishna is merciful, and they're not seeing our shortcomings, but they see our endeavor, our good qualities, that we're trying to do something. So therefore we are able to do. And there's a reciprocation. And because anyhow, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in every endeavor, there is some kind of fault in the material world. Just like when there is smoke, when there is a fire, there is smoke also. It's almost unavoidable. So if you perform some activity, then sometimes there's some fault there in material world. But the Lord will accept. And especially the pure devotees, actually, even though sometimes it may to be like a fault, but there's no fault. And similarly, sometimes the Lord is doing something which may look like it's a fault, but there's never a fault in the Supreme Lord. Even sometimes Krishna is doing something which is a little funny. Like Krishna is the Supreme Lord, but there's a cowboy, a gop, is milking the cows. But he has so much love for all the Brijavasis, the cows and everyone, but especially the gopis. And he's always Sarvagya, he knows everything. He's the source of everything, but at the same time he becomes mugdha by his eternal potency. He becomes bewildered also. Mohit Krishna sometimes. One time, so he was thinking about Radharani and how can I meet Radharani, and then he had to milk the cows also. But instead of milking the cow, he went to the bull and he was trying to milk the bull. And everyone laughing, Krishna, what are you doing? This is a bull, it's not a cow. Oh my God, yes it is. So Krishna becomes sometimes bewildered. But there's no fault in Krishna. It is just his pastime. And even Krishna sometimes is lying. But it is just his pastime. And he's stealing. He's stealing butter. Makhan chor. He's known as Makhan chor. He's stealing butter. He's stealing and he's not stealing. Because everything belongs to Krishna. All the spiritual material worlds belong to Krishna. So, and even if you go now in Vrindavan, and you go to anybody's house, and they will have deities at home. And you say, oh, you have a nice house and a nice garden around. They will always say, it's not my house, it's Krishna's house. And not only that, but the gopis, because they have so much love for Krishna. So they're churning the butter, or they're churning the milk, the yogurt, and then they get the butter. Of course, then they churn the butter also and get ghee. And when they're doing whatever they're doing, because they have so much love for Krishna more than their own children, then they're thinking, oh, it would be nice if Krishna would come to my house and take some butter from my house. That would be nice. They want to offer the butter to Krishna. And Krishna, he knows everything is in everyone's heart. So therefore he's coming there, but he's not asking, my dear Gopi, can I have some butter? But he's stealing. But it is his butter. And he's reciprocating with the gopis, because everything belongs to him. Like if somebody, children are there in a house, and the fridge is there, they open the fridge and take whatever they want. So Krishna, everything, all the houses belong to him. Bhuktarangik tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram. All the worlds belong to Krishna. So there is no fault. So there's tattva vichara, the consideration of the absolute truth. And then the lila, the pastime. So it appears to be that he's stealing, and he's stealing in the pastime, but he's not really stealing, because everything belongs to him. Wonderful pastimes are there of Krishna. And actually, the goal of life is to be absorbed in Krishna and his pastimes. Therefore, Prabhupada, before every lecture, he was chanting, Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari. So we understand that is the goal actually. But then, by the way, so we have to perform devotional service, but then also we have to advance slowly but surely, and we have to follow the rules and regulations, and we have to follow Vana Ashram Dharma, because to become immediately pure and engage in pure devotional service and always remembering Krishna is difficult. First, we have to understand that Krishna is God, and that we are not his body, and that we have to try to advance in our spiritual life as spirit soul. But then to be on the spiritual platform always is not easy. So therefore we have to practice, and then we follow Vana Ashram. And then slowly but surely we can advance, and therefore we should hear also about the pastimes which are there from the first canto to the ninth canto, about the different incarnations and the different devotees, the pure devotees and the practicing devotee. So we can learn something. So from here, in this instance, so we should try to see, just like Orlindra, he's in the post, he's a devotee, but then he's becoming lusty, which is not good, that has to be controlled. And then also he's becoming envious and proud. So that we have to avoid. So if one is in a position also, one should be humble. Temple president, he should think, well, I'm the servant of the servant. Even nowadays in material world, mostly they know that we should serve others. So then one is a good leader if one is thinking of the welfare of others, and is there in the leader is there in the serving spirit. I have to serve. I have to serve the nation. I have to serve the king, the people in the nation, or in the kingdom, or in the country. So the good leader is in the mood of service, serving the Lord, serving the representative of the Lord, or even serving the common man. Sarva bhutehi terataha. He's always there for the benefit of others, not thinking about himself. So that is a leader, that is a Vaishnava. So that we have to try to understand also. And we have to be careful, because the false ego is there. I am something special. And then I, mameti, I and mine. This has to be given up. So that we say to the materialistic people, but we have to look at ourselves also. We have to give that up also. Although we may be there, in a devotee dress, having tilak, kantimala, but to become really devotee, that is not so easy to become a Vaishnava. I am Vaishnava. I'm trying to be a Vaishnava. That should be the mood. So, and so here then then King Prithu also became angry, but so that was also not needed, because he did so many sacrifices. There was no need to compete with Indra. So that was also not right from his part then. Therefore Lord Brahma came. And the priests also. So they said, okay, you should not kill, but we will kill. But that is also not proper. And therefore Lord Brahma came and he clarified. And he told them, no, you cannot do that. Don't do the sacrifice, and you cannot kill Lord Indra, because he's a representative of the Lord. The king is a representative of the Lord. The demigods are representatives of the Lord. And the spiritual master is a representative of the Lord. Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Sastrair. We chant every day in Shikshashtakam in the morning. So it's as good as Hari. But he's not Hari. He's a representative of Hari. Similarly, Indra is almost as good as the Supreme Lord. But he's not exactly as powerful and as good. And he's a servant of the Supreme Lord. But he has to be respected, because we cannot directly approach Krishna. Therefore we approach the spiritual master. Then we can approach Krishna, otherwise it is not possible. So the representative, the king also. So they are actually empowered usually. The spiritual master, the king, and the demigods are empowered, but still sometimes, because Maya is very strong, then they're bewildered. And even sometimes, not only the demigods, the kings, but even sometimes some spiritual master is bewildered, that we have seen in our society, in previous ages also, in different sampradayas. Even the king of Indra, and then he has his priests, the main priest was a Bhrigu Muni. He also had some difficulty. He became attracted to the wife of his brother, and she was pregnant, and still he wanted to engage in sexual intercourse. But of course, and actually the wife of his brother was saying, no, you cannot do, I'm pregnant, and it is not proper. When the wife is pregnant, not even the husband can have sexual intercourse. But still, because of lust, he put no control. And even Vishwamitra Muni, great sage, he was also bewildered. Indra sent Apsara because he was powerful. Many times he's disturbing great kings or great saintly persons, because he becomes envious of them, or he becomes afraid that they will occupy his post because they become powerful. So very strong material energy. So therefore one always has to be careful and humble, tolerant, respectful, and pray and call out and cry out to Guru, Gauranga, and Krishna for help, for protection. Of course, here Nrsingadev is there. Nrsingadev Bhagavan Ki. So he's there to protect us. Like he protected Prahlad. But even Nrsingadev is there to protect us from lusty desires, or try to help us remove all these anarthas, unwanted things in our heart. So therefore we pray for his protection also. So we may not deviate from the path of devotional service, and we may then have one-pointed devotion towards Mahaprabhu and Krishna. So Lord Brahma told them, the priests, not to do this yagya and try to kill Indra. And so because Brahma is actually the greatest of all the demigods. Although sometimes Indra is considered the king of the demigods. But actually the different demigods are there. And like we are on the earthly planet. And then even the Brahmanas, they are known as Bhusur Gan. Bhu means the earth, Sur means demigod, Gan means the group. So the Brahmanas are the demigods of this earth. So they're very much to be respected, especially if they are devotees and Brahmanically inclined. But then in the higher planets, they're there, above the earth planet. And so Svargalok is there, where Indra is there, and so there are many more demigods around there, and so he's the king of them. But higher than that is Tapalok, Mahalok and Janalok, where great sages are living. So they are even more to be respected than the demigods, than most of them. But then the highest planet is Brahmaloka, and is actually the chief of all the demigods. And is the secondary creator. And then another powerful demigod is Lord Shiva, who is very special personality. He's not Vishnu Tattva and he's not Jiva Tattva. He's in between the living entity and Vishnu. Very powerful and great devotee of the Lord and great demigod. He's there at the time of creation of the material world. His helping hand is there. And then his consort Parvati Durga Devi is there to help. And at the time of destruction of the material world, universe and material world, then he's also there. Durga Devi and Shiva. And even to some extent they are also maintaining. And then Shiva also, just like Brahma is the Adiguru, is the Guru in our Sampradaya. After Krishna, we're in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. He is Guru. And Shiva is also one Guru in one Sampradaya, Shiva Sampradaya. So great demigods. So they immediately accepted and they desisted from killing Indra. So he was saying also, which is important in verse 31, that Indra, so he adopted a dress of a sannyasi. And so in this way, that is a kind of, but not the proper way of how the sannyasi should behave. Sannyasis should study the scriptures. They should worship the Lord. And in the age of Kali, they should chant the holy names. And then they should teach the scriptures. They should try to preach about the Supreme Lord, engage the common man in the service of the Supreme Lord. They should help the common man. But so he was, but Indra, he was not doing any of these things. But he just adopted the dress of a mendicant to take the horse, sacrificial horse. So that is an indication that we can see in the age of Kali. In India, there are many sannyasis, but they are not really worshipping the Supreme Lord. Many times, just to fill the belly. They're there as a sannyasi, and then they're begging here and there. They get a free meal. Because people, they are sometimes charitably disposed, and then they give free clothes, they give free meal to those who are mendicants. But many of them, we've seen in Vrindavan also, they are not really doing much devotional service. And of course, many are Mayavadis also, impersonalists. So therefore, Brahma was also saying that you should not oppose him. He told Prithu Maharaj, otherwise he may do some other things. He will misuse his power and do some other irreligious things, introduce other irreligious systems. So you just leave it and let him have his pride that I am the only one who performed 100 sacrifices. And then, so he told Brahma told Prithu, it's all right, you did 99, that's enough. And then he told him also that because you are aware of the path of liberation, you're aware that we are supposed to engage in devotional service, so then there's no need to do more sacrifices. And Prabhupada was also mentioning, saying that actually, and that is because he was a devotee, so there was no need to do exactly 100, but if you do something, just like, for example, it is mentioned that if one is in a holy place, like Vrindavan, and one is chanting one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is just like chanting 100 rounds. If it is in Kartik, it is just like chanting 1,000 rounds. So if one is properly engaged in devotional service, then one will get so much benefit and no need to do these kind of sacrifices. And even, for example, especially devotional service is also a kind of sacrifice. Doing for the pleasure of the Lord. Anything, doing not only a fire sacrifice, but anything for the pleasure of the Lord is a kind of sacrifice. And the greatest sacrifice in the age of Kali is the chanting of the holy name. Sankirtan Yagya. There's no fire there when we do Sankirtan, except the fire of the devotee's determination. That is fired up, doing Sankirtan, chanting so nicely. Fired up serving the Lord. So Yagya is there. So Nama Yagya Maha Yagya Kali Kalmashanashanam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prityatam Nama Yagya Samapanam. One verse in the glorification of the holy names. Nama Yagya Maha Yagya. The sacrifice of chanting the holy names. It is a great sacrifice, the greatest. Kali Kalmashanashanam. And as a result of that, the kalmash, the dirty things in the heart, they become Nashanam, destroyed. And how we should do chant the holy name? Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prityatam. We should do it for the pleasure of Mahaprabhu. And of course, then for the pleasure of Radha and Krishna also. And Mahaprabhu is not different. If you please Mahaprabhu, then Radha Krishna pleased. Because Mahaprabhu is not different from Radha and Krishna. So Nama Yagya Samarpanam. So when we chant, we do for the pleasure of Guru, Gauranga. And then Krishna will be satisfied also. So that is a great sacrifice. And we can see, practically speaking, so in the beginning stage, one is chanting the holy names and one feels sleepy. Or the mind is going here and there. And it's a struggle. Okay, I have to chant 16 rounds. And then Hare Krishna, mind going here and there, falling asleep, or no taste. And then, okay, 1 hour gone, only 10 rounds charted. 6 rounds more, and then 16 rounds. I'm done, Mahayagya done. But if you have some ruchi taste, you chant Hare Krishna, 10 rounds, 12 rounds. Oh, I have to dress the deities, I have to do my puja, I have to do something else. And then unwillingly, almost you put the bead back down. Because it is so sweet chanting. Because Krishna is there. Nama Chittamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigara Purnoshara Nirvukta Abhinatvam Nama Namaha. Krishna, Krishna Nama, no different. So one who is more purified, he can see Krishna while he's chanting. Krishna's form, Krishna's qualities. And then Krishna's pastimes ultimately. But of course it will take some time. So, but it is a sacrifice and one should do that, and it is the greatest sacrifice. And that is actually the only means to get perfection in the age of Kali, practically. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam. 3 times to emphasize, only by chanting the holy names. Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva. 3 times, there's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way. Not by yagya, not by opulent deity worship, not by meditating on Krishna, you can attain perfection. But by chanting the holy names. And by chanting the holy names, everything is included in that. You're chanting, you're giving the name to others, the holy name to others, and it's like giving charity. And you can worship the Lord while chanting. And it is the greatest meditation, chanting the holy name. So that is there also. So many glorification is there of the holy names. So that is the greatest yaga. So if one is engaged in devotional service, so Prabhupada has mentioned, then there's no need to do this opulent fire sacrifice. So and therefore then he also understood and he didn't perform any more sacrifice. And then by the blessing of Lord Brahma, because he did what Brahma said, following Guru, that is important, then you become successful. And he was already quite famous, but he became more famous by the blessing of Lord Brahma. He became more famous than Indra. King Prithu is celebrated as a pure devotee, a great devotee. It is mentioned with the chariot, so he was going around even as a description there, because he was thinking, well, we should be engaged in devotional service all the time. And so then he went with his chariot, which was a golden chariot. At the night time he was riding the chariot, so that was so effulgent. So it was like no night time for some time. So it was so powerful. So that is also described, the glories of Prithu Maharaj. And then, of course, at one point, then he also had to retire. And he did it also, it is mentioned, he went alone to the forest, accompanied by his wife. Because two types of vanaprastha. One is vanaprastha is going alone, really alone, like Bharat Maharaj, leaving the kingdom, leaving the family, leaving the wife, leaving the servants, leaving the opulent dresses, jewelry, everything. So he also left everything, Prithu Maharaj. He left the kingdom, he left his ministers, his servants, his opulence. But he was accompanied by his wife. And at that time, the wife has to be very submissive. And in married life, sometimes the wife needs this and that, and the husband has to give. She needs a new sari, new dress, she needs some jewelry. We need this in the house, that in the house, and the husband, yes. And he has to supply. But when vanaprastha, she should not ask anything. She should just follow the husband and do some great austerity like the husband. Simple cloth. 2 sets of cloth, not 100 saris. Of course, they don't have 100, but they have many saris usually. Isn't it? The ladies have many clothes, usually. I mean, especially in India, maybe not so much in the West. But the ladies have many saris. Anyhow, so. But in vanaprastha, one has to be more renounced. The man and then the lady also, if she wants to accompany. Otherwise, she can stay at home with the children and she can be more comfortable. So he became very much glorified by the praja, by everyone in his kingdom, and even up to now we glorify Prithu Maharaj as a great devotee. He's there as an example, an ideal king, an ideal leader, an ideal devotee. So by the blessing of Lord Brahma. So we always have to be under the guidance of the spiritual master, the advanced devotees, and then we can be successful. Otherwise, there's every chance of some mistake. Like Prithu Maharaj. He was a great devotee already, but then he was almost going to kill Indra. That was a great mistake. So he was thinking of doing that, but he was protected by Brahma. So therefore, we have to be protected under the guidance of the advanced devotees. And then we can be successful. Okay, it is 9 o'clock, so we stop here. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. Any question or everything is clear? Yes, Babaji.
If there's no other question. You talked about you talked a lot about Vrindavan, and to my mind came this statement, Vrindavanam parijana param ekam gacchati.
Vrindavan parijana ekam padam gacchati. Yeah, that is Krishna is not taking one step out of Vrindavan. Yes.
Does it mean that Krishna is in the hearts of his devotees now, or is he really moving around somewhere in Vrindavan?
Actually, yeah, you see, the thing is, Krishna is always in Vrindavan, but he's not manifest now. He's only manifest in the heart of the pure devotee, now in Vrindavan. So he was 5,000 years ago, he was manifest, he appeared there. He appeared in Gokul and in Mathura. In Mathura, that was Vasudeva Krishna, the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. At the same time, he appeared in Gokul as the son of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba. And Vasudeva Krishna, who was brought by his father, merged into Yashoda Nandan. And so then he stayed. Krishna performed his pastimes, childhood pastimes, and everyone could see. And his devotees were there also, and they could see him. And those who were fortunate, they entered into his pastimes. But still not everyone could see. Like Kamsa could not see that is the Supreme Lord. Other peoples also, they could not see. Who is this Krishna? He's a little powerful, but he would never think that he's the Supreme Lord. So not everyone could see, but the devotees could see. He was manifest to the devotees. But others could see him also, but they could not understand that he's the Supreme Lord. And then when he had to go to Mathura, Kamsa sent Akrura to call him. He went there. And of course, all the Brijbasis, when they heard Krishna has to go to Mathura, they were devastated. Maria Yashoda was crying. Nanda Baba, anyhow, don't worry, we have to go there. Kamsa is calling. And I have to go and give some taxes, but I will come back soon. And so she was crying separation. The gopis were very dear to Krishna, and Krishna was the Lord of their life. Prananath, the life of their life. So they were not showing to their parents, to others, their love for Krishna. Only when they met Krishna at Radhakund or at night time, but otherwise they were controlling themselves so that nobody could detect that we have a nice relationship with Krishna. But when Ankurur came to take Krishna, then the gopis, they could not check their feelings. And they were crying, no, you cannot take Krishna. One gopi was throwing herself in front of the chariot, only over my body. You cannot take Krishna. They were holding the reins of the horses. No, you cannot drive the chariot. And Akrura was just staying there and what to do? And Krishna especially was pacifying the gopis, don't worry, I will come back. And Nanda Baba also telling them, no, he has to go now. And then somehow they controlled themselves to some extent, but they were crying and devastated. And then Krishna went. And they saw Krishna slowly disappearing, crying, and then they become like devastated, stunned. They could not move for some times. They were just looking, the chariot is going, Krishna is going. The Lord of our life is going. They were feeling like giving up the body. And then, so Akrura is taking them at the border of Vrindavan and Mathura. He said, I want to take a bath in the Jamuna. At that time, Jamuna crystal clear, not polluted like nowadays. Still, the river is there, but so much pollution because the dam above Delhi is there and holding so much water. But that time, crystal clear. Even when I came, 1980, first time to Vrindavan, we used to drink the water. We used to bathe crystal clear. So he went to take a bath. And then he saw Krishna Balaram in front of himself there. And he was asking them, you want to take a bath also? Krishna Balaram, no, it's okay. We took enough bath in the Jamuna. Every day almost Krishna Balaram, they were taking bath. And then he's inside the water taking bath and showing Krishna Balaram in front of him there in the water. What is going on? They were saying they're not in the water, not going to be in the water. He's looking back on the chariot. Krishna Balaram are there on the chariot. What's going on there? And then he realized there's Krishna in Braj and Krishna in Mathura. And so then from that point, Krishna and Balaram from Braj, they became aprakat, unmanifest. And Vasudev, Krishna and Shankarsan and Balaram, they were there and they were going to Mathura. So also original Balaram is not going out because the seventh pregnancy of Vasudeva and Devaki was there. So that was actually Shankarsan Balaram. And he was Yogamaya, and she transferred him from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. She was already pregnant with Adi Balaram. So Shankarsan Balaram then merged into Adi Balaram. And then When they had to go to Mathura, then Shankarshan was there and Vasudeva Krishna were there and Adi Balaram and Mul Rup Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, they were there in Braj. So that is explained by the Acharyas. And then Vasudeva and Shankarshan Balaram were there in Mathura and then they went to Dwarka. So that is there. So Krishna Balaram, they became aprakat, not manifest. And then even Radharani, when Krishna is going, then she's also unmanifest. But then she's there crying. Who is that? That is Viyogini Radha, expanded form, crying and crying and crying, crying. Krishna is gone. And then they meet in Kurukshetra. That is Vasudeva Krishna and some Yogini Radha, not the original Radharani. She's also not going out of Braj. So that is mentioned in the scriptures, in the Sanak Samhita there. So that is there. So, but then the pure devotees, they can see. They can see Krishna still now in Braj. Because Aprakat and Prakat Braj, it is no different between Braj in this world and Braj in the spiritual world. But it's not manifest now here. But it's always manifest in the spiritual world. But the pure devotees, they can see Krishna. Because they can see the spiritual world, Krishna there in the spiritual world. So they can see the pastime still. But ordinary people, they cannot see. It is Aprakat. So that is Nitya Lila, Aprakat Lila, and Namitika Lila, Prakat Lila. So Nitya Lila is always going on. But this Prakat Lila is Namitika, is only there sometime in this universe. But it is in every universe Krishna is there. So Krishna is continuously taking birth. Krishna is continuously 1 year old, 2 years old. Just like the sun. Sunrise was just 4 hours ago, 3 hours ago. But now somewhere there's sunrise. Somewhere there's sunset. Somewhere it is noontime. In India now is noontime, 12:30. But sunrise is always. Noontime is always somewhere. Sunset is always somewhere. So Krishna's appearance is always somewhere. Krishna going to Mathura is always there, like this. But so Krishna's eternal pastimes are always there in the spiritual world, but there Krishna is in Braj, Krishna is Mathura, and Krishna is in Dwarka. But here, first Krishna is in Braj, that is Yashodanandan, and then Vasudeva Krishna is there, and Dwarkadish is there. So that's how it is. But the pure devotees, they can always see. Like Narada Muni, or the 6 Goswamis, Prabhupada, they can see. Like that. Is that okay? Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, we should stop here. Grantharaj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna.